Dr. Jazz.
Hey guys,
Dr.
Samo here.
Jazz.
Thanks for checking out the channel and its contents. And if you feel like it, please do subscribe. Thanks so much. Enjoy the video. Bye.
Oh, no problem.
To chat a bit about the new album and some other stuff, and I just listened today to the single. I mean, to the last one that came out with Hiromi and Chris Potter, and that sounds killing. And it's kind of a continuation of Phoenix, right? In a way, but also pushing it a step forwards, lots of guests. Like, what's the story of the new album? I mean, can you lead me a little bit and tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, hold on for a second. Are you asking me what's the story behind the song Flamekeeper or the entire album?
The entire album, like the concept. I mean, like, it's kind of a continuation of your story, I feel it, but it's still like bringing in new elements.
Oh,
And
okay. Did you hear the whole thing or did you only hear
I heard
Flamekeeper?
just this track. I couldn't download it. I mean, Lydia sent me the whole track, but the whole album, but I couldn't kind of download it or.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe that's why you think that, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
So the question is, what's the story behind the album?
Yeah.
For me, I kind of wanted to, within my music, reach a different level of, I guess, inspiration by people that not only I look up to their music and stuff, but I feel that they're super innovative in what they do, and maybe like the only people that are able to do their exact same thing and move through the genres so seamlessly. So I kind of wanted to assemble my own version of like almost like the Avengers to spread some kind of like positivity and message of what it means for each person on the track to have gone through the life they've gone through and still be trying now.
Mm, okay. And what are your connections with these people? I mean, I know with, Black Thought you go way back, and I guess Tane and Terrence and all these guys. Like, why did you choose all these people? I mean, they're amazing, first of all, like top level players, and
Yeah, I wouldn't say I go back with any of them.
yeah.
So maybe Casa. Maybe Casa, I definitely go as far with him. But each time I have an album, it's not necessarily to say, oh, these are my friends that I've known for all time. It's to make me grow. It's to meet new people
Mm,
and to start almost like a mentorship and a new way of going. So for Terrence, for the past like 2 years, we've been working together and he's been helping me with my, I guess, career and film and writing and stuff like that. Um, Tank, I feel like they're all connected, whether we know it or not, to jazz. Like we don't think of Tank Ball as a jazz artist, but if you really look at the way she does her poetry and the way she does her raps and the way she does everything, sure. So I kind of sought the guests out. It wasn't a particular, and I wrote each song and each track with them in mind so that they
okay.
could do what they do the best on it. Not it'd be great to have Terrence just throw him somewhere. Each person was like when you do hear the record, the first song is called First Light, which has a lot of my poetry on it. And I kind of wanted it's very cinematic. And when I think of Terrence Blanchard's sound, ever since I was a little girl, I could hear his trumpet on a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah.
So I wanted to recreate that kind of vibe and use my own poetry in a way to speak of where, as soon as it comes out, you know exactly where the album is coming from, what the message is, what's happening. And throughout the album, that's why I have people constantly speaking, constantly rapping,
Yeah.
constantly, almost like we're traveling to different parts of the globe.
Mm, yeah. What's your process when writing? I listened today to Phoenix. I mean, that's the one I have by you. And, there's some beautiful melodies there, like New Mornings and stuff. And like, how do you come up? What's your composition process usually? I mean, now you said like you know the people who are going to be on it, which is so important. And how do you start usually with piano or just like record some melodies on the horn or
So I start with the story I want to tell,
yeah.
and I try to imagine the emotion of each song as I'm going. So I don't write any songs on saxophone, I write everything on piano. And sometimes I will add some I don't know how you call it, production, where I can actually play the bass, play the drums, so I could hear if this is going the direction I want it to go in.
Yeah.
And that's basically how some songs start with a melody, some start the song with words, but they all start with an idea. Like if I want the song to sound like despair, then that's where I start. That's where I visualize all of the sonic elements I'm putting is to bring me into that kind of zone.
Yeah, so important. Yeah. So that then you create lead sheets and give this to the band, and do you guys change like things
Yeah, they
during the
wish.
rehearsals or?
Uh, no, they wish I would do that, but it depends. It depends on how the song goes. You know, some
Okay.
songs, like for instance, on the album Dreambreaker, I definitely had to write that out for them because it wasn't
Yeah.
going to go well.
Okay.
You know, but some songs I may teach it to them section by section. This is how it starts. This is how it goes. So it depends on the groove. You know, for a lot of more in the jazz music, you have to write it out just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the sake of clarity. But when I had my funk band, I would teach them the whole album, kind of
Okay.
Charles Mingus style. You know.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the band leading aspect seems to be like what we're talking now, like quite easy, right? To you, like I listened today also to Retalks, and growing as a band leader and as a composer, what was your process like now? If you look back, like shit, that's like 15 years now back, and growing to the stage where you're now, like, did that come naturally to you, the band leading aspect, or?
First of all, crazy. That is 15 years.
Yeah, I know that's it's insane, right? For me, it also feels like yesterday because, like, I don't know.
It doesn't feel like yesterday, but not 15. No, I'm drastically different. So when Retox came, I had no desire to be a band leader. I actually made that album because I got a grant and they said, oh, you should make an album. So I thought, oh, this would be great. I'll sell these albums on Gregory Porter gig. You know, I wasn't thinking of becoming any type of leader. And back then you could also tell by the way I was writing.
Yeah,
I was writing almost as the leader behind the leader, almost like a producer.
interesting.
Like these are my songs, this is my music, these are all of my lyrics, but I didn't really feature myself so much. So I think from then to now, I've kind of figured out who I am more. I've kind of figured out what makes me happy, what I like to do, and I guess I've grown more confidence.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard, like when you start. I remember going back, like nobody taught me how to be a band leader.
Yeah,
It's like things. Oh shit, I have to do that, and what makes life
yeah,
easier in the studio or on the road, and
yeah. I guess with the Soul Squad,
yeah.
we had guests, but they weren't like I've always been collaborating. They weren't like very famous guests. But I think before the reason for the guests is almost the more people you have, the stronger you are, right? So you're not really leading them, you're just making a very good collaborative.
Mm,
And now the reason for the guests is whether they were there or not, the music would still be as strong and the message would be as strong. So they're almost like, I guess, dessert versus the main course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so cool. Where does this variety come from in your music? I mean, you're coming from New York, which is of course obviously, everything is mixed there. And when did you find out first about jazz? I'll put it like that because, or improvisation. Do you remember the moment hearing, or who did you hear?
Yeah. So for improvisation, I don't know if you know this instrument, the recorder.
Yeah, sure.
I was playing it in 5th grade and I wanted desperately to switch to the saxophone. And they had a saxophone. That's a long story I shouldn't tell, but the band leader, who is now the I guess the bass roadie for Ron Carter, told me if I could play a solo on C Jam Blues, that I could for sure move to the sax. And I was like, what is a solo? He said, you just play what you feel. So I took my recorder solo on C Jam Blues.
Wow. Okay.
For jazz, I had grew up in a Latino neighborhood, so most of my music was not my music. Most of the music I played was merengue, bachata, salsa, but mainly merengue because that is what the saxophone hails in, especially alto.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were going to take me from middle school to high school. And in New York, they stopped the program where you couldn't go anywhere. You had to go to the school in your neighborhood, and my neighborhood was more bad. So my friends that were way older than me told me they're going to a performing arts school called LaGuardia. And you just have to do a classical song and a jazz song and you can get in. I was like, what's jazz? They're like, just read the music. So when I went to the audition, the guy auditioning me was a guy named Bob Stewart from Brass Fantasy, Nicholas Payton's
Oh,
band, Greg
the
Osby
tuba
band.
player.
Yeah.
Really? Oh man, I
Yeah.
love Bob Stewart.
So
Wow.
when I came in, He told me to play the classical song. I did well. He told me to play the jazz song. Did Charlie Parker's Yardbird Suite, but I didn't know any jazz. I just read the music down. So he looked at me and said, "Why are you playing it like this?" I said, "Because I'm just reading the music." He said, "Have you ever heard of jazz?" He started counting, like, 2 and 4. And I said, "Why are you not counting all the beats? What's wrong with you?" So eventually I played it. He said, "Listen, you good, but you need to learn how to play some jazz. I need a new lead alto player." So I said, "I'll do whatever I can to get into the school." So he gave me a list of people and said, "Get a record of these guys, and if you like it, give me a call, and I'll probably let you in the school." So the record had Charles Mingus, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, Kenny Garrett, and I think like a Sonny Rollins or something, or maybe a live John Coltrane. But I never listened to it because I thought it was broke because it was live. So I listened to them, the Duke Ellington first. Then I called them right away.
Wow. How did that go? Like, so Bob must have been so important. I mean,
Very,
because
very, very, very important. I mean, he's the beginning I have to jazz. So at that school, because he was still in the height of his career,
yeah,
I tell you, Mulhall Richard Abrams came to everybody rehearsed at our school.
wow,
He rehearsed, Nick Payton rehearsed, Roy Hargrove rehearsed, Osby, Steve Coleman, Sam Rivers,
wow,
uh, Brass Fantasy, like everyone. And then also across the street, Jazz at Lincoln Center was rehearsing.
wow.
And their rehearsals are free. So it was a very crucial point for me to decide what I'm doing and how much practice it's going to take. And he also kept on his wall a bunch of posters. And we would come back from school, from the summer vacation, he would say, "Oh, North Sea, I played this music festival. Where's that? In Europe. Where's Europe?" And he'd say another one, "I played this one." So we could see all summer what he was doing, how he was doing it. He's playing with James Carter,
He's playing everyone.
Arthur
Yeah,
Blythe. Arthur
yeah.
Blythe was rehearsed in the school. So I never heard a sound like that. So these people, I would talk to them and ask them. So I think without Bob Stewart, it was crucial. And his son now, we're very good friends,
Wow,
because we're from the same time. So it's
that's
very,
amazing.
thank God for Bob Stewart.
Yeah, man, I love. I read also like Gary Bartz was so important for you. Like, how did you meet Gary then?
When I went to new school, eventually, they have a program where after you pass your basic proficiency, you can pick any teacher you want and you can divide the lessons up. At the time, I had gotten a Gary Bartz album, I've Known Rivers, and I was very like intrigued by all the Swahili and the bad spirits getting out. So I found him and told him, "Yeah, I want to study with you. I want to learn Swahili and stuff." And he kept ignoring me, so I kept coming to his shows. Finally, he said, I'm gonna take you as a student." I said, "It's good that you say yeah because I'm in school now. Otherwise, it'd be free." And then he was laughing. So that's how we started.
Wow, how were the lessons with him like? I mean, he played like with everyone. It's like really, and such a composer and band leader as well. And
It was challenging for me because he didn't want to do jazz with me. Said
wow,
he only wanted to do classical. He was giving me a lot of Marcel Muccello etudes,
really interesting.
oboe. I didn't want to play that, but he was like, "I'm sure that you're gonna be a great jazz musician, but I'm not sure you're gonna learn how to play the saxophone." So that was his first thing. He didn't
Mm.
want to practice any solos. He would give me like a lesson. He said, "You're gonna play the alto sax. Alto sax players don't have no gigs. So I'm gonna teach you the business of music." So he had me write down. He said, "From now on, your job is from 9 to 5. So let's say 9 to 11, you're doing your long tones and scales. At 11 o'clock, when you get tired, you got to call a restaurant and figure out if they need a sax player or call this." And then I would talk to them. I said, they want me to play, but I don't have any music to listen to them. Okay, so now you have to record. Oh, I gave them the album. They like it, but they can't reach me. Oh, now you need a business card. So he was grooming me almost in the process.
That's so important, right?
Yeah,
I
now
mean,
it feels like that. Then it did not feel like that.
uh, because like sometimes I have students who come out of university and they're like, okay, shit, what do we do now? Like, no one teaches them, at least here in Europe, like how to book a tour together or.
No, it's the same everywhere.
Okay. That's heavy, isn't it? I mean, the
It
scales and the chords and everything, but
it
it's
depends who your teachers are.
yeah,
The,
yeah, sure.
the sooner you can tell, because most people want to study music because they love music,
Yeah.
or they like music or they love it. But you have to introduce at some point to them the music business, and that they have to understand. Either they may like it or love it or not, but it's coming with them. So that's where you have to make the decision. But when you first start, you don't want to tell them, hey, this thing is coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a hard way to learn that. Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
it's really. uh, how did you enter the scene then? You know, being already at university, you know, you actually had a chance to play with the elders, which is so important. You know, I've read you played with Clark Terry and Reggie, who was part of the new school. And how was that like for you, you know, integrating with the scene, and what were the first gigs you actually got? And
Oh, the first gig I ever got was Clark Terry.
wow, how did that happen?
I mean, like the main gig, like I
Yeah.
always had. But I guess people, when you're from New York, they assume that you're ingrained in the jazz scene. They don't realize that, first of all, New York is very big. It's like 8 hours,
Sure.
and you usually stay in your zone. You don't move from your zone, so you don't know what's in the next neighborhood. So from early on, like in after school programs and stuff, I was sneaking into the jam sessions uptown and going around there. By the time I got downtown, I was working at the supermarket, going to school, sneaking into the jam sessions.
Wow.
So I was always aware of like more of the street scene than the regular scene. So for me, it was always hard coming up because in Harlem, when you go to those jams, there are a lot of very older people and they're old school. They're not like now where like, don't worry, come up and play. I'll write you a song. Here's the key. They just throwing you up there. And you have to play with James Carter. You have to play with Roy, and they don't tell
Mm.
you the song. They don't tell you the key. It's New York. It's going by fast. The in Harlem, not only will the musicians not like you, the audience will boo you. So I think because I came from more of that background, it felt more natural. If my colleagues in school don't like the way I play,
Mm.
it's not nothing to like Big Bob that is kicking me out the club, every night.
Yeah. You remember those sessions still? Like how they were like for
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's part of my, for school, I don't remember so much anything as I remember the sessions, like I remember going to a jam session once and finally and it was a place that, like a juke joint, that the organ, loud blues, finally I play a solo and the audience finally goes, okay, okay, Keisha, good job. And I'm walking off the stage and James Carter's coming on.
Ooh.
And he was a sax teacher of mine at the time. And he goes, so I'm thinking he's gonna be like, yeah, you sounded good, girl, finally. He's like, oh, I see you took the scenic route. And I was like, what? He starts making all these crazy sounds. And it's over. My whole soul never happened compared to that. Just that fast. Like that's it. It went away, all the good things.
Oh shit, yeah. That's like, yeah. I heard stories like from generation older than you. I mean, the previous generation playing with Freddie Hubbard and all those cats who were also like, you know, going to the stage and just like, okay, no lead sheets or nothing, just play, and that's a hard way to learn. Yeah,
Uh, you know,
but
it's
yeah,
a
it's a
it's
hard
it's long
business.
it's a longevity way. The
Yeah,
other way, if you need the paper, if you need a hug,
yeah,
it makes when the music business gets introduced more difficult.
yeah. True. Yeah, but still, you know, so you started to play those jam sessions, and then who were the first people who invited you to, besides Clark Terry, to gigs and or the first tours and stuff like that? How did that happen?
I met Rashied Ali at a jam session.
Oh man, how's that like?
It was crazy. I didn't know it was him, but it was him.
And you played with him for a long time, or?
So he died.
Oh man, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
so maybe
Okay.
I can't remember how long it went for, but until the end, the last gig I played for Rashid was at his memorial.
Wow. How was it
Yeah.
like working with him? I mean, how was he as a band leader? And
Um, brutal. I
shit.
mean, yeah, when I met him, I was at a jam session, and I was a place I used to not sneak into, but the guy that was the owner, even if you're a musician, he's gonna make you buy a drink or something to eat or
Oh
something, then
wow.
you can play.
Okay.
So I never had any money, so he's always chasing people around. Get out of here if you don't buy a drink. So I was running from him in the club. Oh yeah, I'll be right back. Going to the bathroom, staying a while, come out, and finally I saw a guy sitting at the bar with full plate of food, a drink, and watching the game. So I said, I'm gonna sit with him. So I sat with him to pretend I know him. Maybe he get me a drink or something. So he got me like a seltzer water or something. We're talking for maybe an hour or so, and I like talking to him. And then finally he goes, I got to get home. Nice to meet you. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go play a song. He goes, oh, you play music? I said, yeah. He says, go up to the stage right now and take a solo. I was like, what? Somebody else is playing. He's like, push him out the way. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. So I go up, push the guy out the way, and I say sorry. I say, I'm so sorry. Then I start playing. So everyone in the jam session already now hates me. And I don't take like one solo. I take like 4 choruses or something. I finish. Everyone's looking at me like I'm scum. I go look for the guy. He's gone. And then a friend of mine says, hey, that guy gave me a car. He said to call him. I was like, who is it? He said, just call him. So I call him the next day. He says, oh, yeah, come down here and rehearse. I was like, rehearse? So I go down and I see that he's in the basement. I said, I don't want to go in the basement. He's like, you coming in the basement? I said, I'm not coming in the basement. So eventually I go to the basement. He's sitting at the drum. That's all you play drums? He said, yeah. He puts like a towel over the clock. I said, what are you doing? He said, let's play something as fast as you can, young blood. I said, as fast as I can? So I said, I play Cherokee. I'm playing. I give him a solo, playing. I'm trying to end the song. Right? He won't let me end the song. He keeps doing something that I cannot end. So I'm like, what is he doing? So I go into another song, like Giant Steps. He keeps doing so. I said, yo, this guy won't. I was like, I got to figure out how to end the song. I keep holding the note so it can end. He won't hold. Finally, after a while, like my face is getting really tired and my mouth is starting to bleed. I'm like, oh my God, this old man is killing me. So finally, I just put the saxophone on the floor, like I surrender. And he sees me put on the floor and stops. And then he goes to the clock and takes the towel down. I said, yo, you crazy. He said, oh, you play for 60 minutes. That's longer than my band. I said, what's wrong with you? Who's your band? Who are you? He said, you don't know who I am? I said, no. He said, then why you come down here? I said, I don't know. He said, you in a basement with a strange man. I said, I know. But you clearly crazy. So I said, so let me out of here. I want to leave. He goes, my name is Rashied Ali. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you want to join my band? I said, what? He said, listen, you found a way to hustle yourself into my basement and play with me. I'm sure you'll work out for the gig.
Man, that's incredible.
That was at a jam session. It was random. That's the only time I met somebody at jam session I got a gig, but that was the one.
Dude, wow, okay. That's incredible. I mean, obviously you knew Rashid by name from the records, but not how he looks and everything, and then just
No, I knew from
that's
by that
amazing.
time I had, some Coltrane records.
That's incredible. I mean, was that an important gig? Because then
Super important.
people saw you, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I ever got a gig because I got a gig with James Blood Omar because he saw me with Rashid, yeah. But besides that, maybe David Murray too. All those guys, those kind of guys, yeah, for
That,
sure.
yeah, that's part of the
But
scene. Yeah.
no, I think it's a different mindset when you're a horn player and someone is challenging you because they play with train to increase your stamina.
Mm.
They're treating it like a sport where the longer you can play, the stronger you are. And then the better what you play is. And I asked them that like later on. I said, when I came first met you, why did you make me play so long? Is to see how strong I was? He was like, no. I said, why? He said, because when I told you to play as fast as you were playing everything you know. He said, I had to wait for you to run out of things so I could find out who you really were.
Mm.
He said, once you ran out of stuff, then I knew who you were made of. I was like, so it taught me a lot
Yeah.
about because he's a lot of times in his band, you think he's playing free. He's playing in the form.
Mm.
He's never free.
Yeah. Wow.
You never heard Rashied Ali free.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the greats, right?
To me, that's crazy that he's
That's
always in a
crazy.
form.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. What was Blood Almer the same? Same kind of style of approach?
No,
Like,
no,
no.
he has a whole different style of music.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
had the
of course. Yeah,
funk band, he had the
yeah.
blues stuff. It was different. But I met him separately. I think he told they're best friends. So I think he told Blood. Blood said he was looking for a girl musician, and Blood called me. And then he said, you want to play with me? And I said, I don't want to play with anybody making a girl band. He said, you know who I am? I said, not really, but I'm gonna look you up, but I still don't want to do it. And he just kept laughing on the phone and joking, you something else. So eventually he told me to come to his house and play. I said, where do you live? He said, I live next door to Rashid. So I said, I know where you live. And I went down there. So I went down there, played with him, everything. And then I went and researched the music after and was like, whoa. But I ended up playing in his house for hours, just duo. He had a book of music.
Man, that's
He's like, play, follow me.
wow. That's fantastic, actually, this way, how you learned and how you got all these gigs. That's amazing. Well, and that was all before Retox.
Blood, James Clark, and Blood and Rashied are before Retox.
Wow.
Blood is after Retox.
Wow. Okay.
For sure, because his agent, I remember, got us a gig in like the next year of Retox, the only gig we had all year at a Moore's Jazz.
Okay. Well, that's a nice one.
Yeah, we're going back for the first time since then.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if they've
That's
announced it or not, but it's pretty funny.
beautiful.
That'd be my first time since those times.
Wow. How did you get the deal for Retox with Motema? I mean, how did that happen, actually?
I have no idea. I think they saw me playing with somebody, maybe Gregory, maybe
Yeah.
somebody. I think it's Gregory, maybe because he was on Motema.
Yeah. And what did things immediately start to move after Retox for you as a
No,
band leader?
they kind of hit the wall.
Wow.
Basically for Retox and Rise Up.
Yeah.
I mean, Retox, we tried very hard. We were trying to get gigs. We had agents, we had everything, but maybe 3 gigs a year, maybe the jazz reviews were not that positive. They said she's a bad smooth jazz player. I'm a bad player and bad smooth jazz as well.
Oh shit.
I didn't get any downbeat, nothing, no. So from Retox and Rise Up, it was just me grinding gigs that I could get because the audience did always like me.
Yeah.
So it was just grinding that. But most of the time I spent from the 2012 to 2018 CD was doing 1 to 5 gigs a year with my band. The rest with Gregory. The rest with Stevie Wonder. The rest with all the people that were doing big things because when I played with them, they had the money, they had the gigs. It wasn't until I did the Coltrane album
Yeah.
that people almost like I debuted again. They forgot that the other albums even happened, they didn't even know it was me. Almost like I'm a new person. She's a new girl to jazz. She's on the scene. She loves Coltrane and Alice. She's a complete genius for this album. Then, they heard the other albums. Oh, she always knew. Then Phoenix, so it was lucky, in my opinion. I don't know how it happened that most artists, they don't get one shot of a break.
Yeah.
But it's random to get 2. So it really just came out of nowhere. Maybe because the pandemic came,
Oh yeah, exactly.
everybody's quiet, but I have an album with all these people. I don't know how it came, but it really feel like a lot of times when I do interviews, nobody knows that Retox and Rise Up is there. We start
Really?
from the Coltranes.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's when they assume my career has started, 2020.
I mean, I love the music on the first one. That Maceo. My daughter was. We were playing with my daughter today, and
Well, yeah, that
she's 3, and she was. We did like repeat on Maceo. I don't know why that tune, but
yeah,
she really loved
yeah.
it.
So
Nice music there. I mean,
yeah, now when people hear the music from Retox and stuff,
yeah.
a lot of people have positive feelings.
Hmm.
And I can tell you, in 2012, they said it was garbage. For sure, I still have some of it in my house, the papers, and it wasn't that many papers. Some people wouldn't even write it. No festival, no gig, even in New York would give us a gig.
Wow, shit. Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they thought it was terrible,
I
tragic.
didn't know that. Wow.
So my career for the public started
In
2020.
persons, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How come you decided to do that, actually, that album? Like, I mean, in a way, makes sense because it's Coltrane. On the other hand, still not. I mean, like,
That's why. I mean, I like I said, I do the albums as a story of where I am. So even though I had been playing with Rashied and Clark, where I was in 2012 was mainly playing with Stevie, mainly playing with Prince, all these kind of pop gigs. So I think my writing was reflective of that. From 2012, let's say, to 2019, I think I just got tired. I'm tired of the little gigs like we do have. I'm tired of only E flat, jamming on the one. Like, the audience
sure.
ears sonically, I'm not getting better. I'm not growing. I started to feel like I'm actually starting to get worse from not expanding or being within the culture of jazz. And I also felt that if I don't make a move now, I'll have to commit my life to playing with other people and serving that. So I thought the best way for me to get back into, I guess, my roots of things was with two of my favorite people. I was like, you know, they exemplified like having a high proficiency on your instrument, being outstanding people, but also the discipline is going to take me now to go back. And that's the hardest music you can start with, going back.
Absolutely. I mean, that's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh wow. Okay, interesting. I mean, how did you land up those pop gigs, by the way? And working with Stevie, I mean, I wanted to ask you that. Like, that's like the dream, right?
We
Or
don't
no?
have
Actually,
time for all these stories, but what I can tell you all collectively, they all involve me sneaking into their gigs, sneaking onto the stage, finding ways around security. The only person that ever called me for a gig, like to my phone,
yeah.
was Clark Terry, and I still had to go audition for him in his house. But every other gig from there was always sneaking and hustling around and trying to find some way to get in there.
Wow. Okay. And being on the road with Stevie, let's say, how was that like? I mean,
I mean, it's the same with everybody. I mean, but I will say, depending on the artist, if
yeah,
you're a band leader trying to learn, you get a different perspective of what it's like to be a band leader and how to control the stage when you watch somebody control 20,000 people
yeah,
versus somebody that it's a different skill set to control a room of 100 in a club or 200. So it teaches you how to address the back of the room like it's the front of the room, you know, to see people, you know, so somebody has hard songs that people are singing like they're lullabies.
yeah,
You know, I think all of those artists that, especially mainstream, but still legendary, you really get a chance to see like what it is playing with Prince, dancing and playing and really controlling the energy on the stage. Like a lot of jazz musicians, not older ones because they really had an idea of the audience. Like Clark Terry could really control a crowd and
yeah,
take them through the highs and lows. But I feel that now a lot of jazz musicians think they're going to get on stage and play, and because their playing is so outstanding, everyone's going to understand that it's outstanding and that the lines are happening. And it's almost like they're bilingual. They're speaking two different separate languages. I'm saying hello, and they only speak German, and you're expecting them to understand what's going on, and they don't really understand that. They can only feel.
yeah,
So you really need the skill set of communicating the art verbally and you writing music that makes people feel something.
yeah. It's important. Yeah. You're going on a long tour now, right, in Europe, and how is it like to stay fresh for you and playing the music and being on the road? So I had problems with that many times after gig 11, you know, creatively to be at the highest level. How do you cope with these things? And
What do you mean? Like after gig 11, you're tired of the music?
yeah, I mean, like tired. I feel like I play really bad. I don't know. Like I keep repeating myself. I guess you don't. Do you have such problems or not really? Like staying fresh on the road.
Uh, no.
Good.
But
Okay.
I can see what you're saying because that's definitely dependent too also on the band.
Yeah.
Because some people treat gigs like Broadway. So it's
Mm,
the same show each time. So even if you're playing the same songs, you have to find different ways to get to different spaces. Like after a while, you start to realize this song goes like this. The audience likes it here. These are the points where they clap. This is this. But you're finding new ways around it. And you're almost like the same way I don't get tired of playing long tones. You're building a muscle.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like each crowd, what worked on the other one may not work this time. So now, you know, you have to, it's almost like you're a group shed. If you're tired of it, you can play songs that maybe don't go well with the crowd, but I get what you mean. The road itself can be tiring.
Yeah.
Luckily for this right now, we're in the very beginning of a project. So at this particular time, we
Yeah.
don't know how the music will go all the way on stage. We've done minimal shows, so we are still figuring out our whole show form. We have the songs, but not the how they flow in the show. While in Phoenix, we know exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We can just play the set down and know what we're doing. We can time it. We know. So we're in a new place, which is actually more scary than the other place
Yeah.
because we don't know how the crowd will deal with it.
Yeah. So on this tour, you will play music from the new record mostly, or?
Yeah, I'm going to
Oh,
play it forever.
okay.
I mean, maybe I'll play Phoenix or a Coltrane song if I feel like it, or
Okay.
maybe another set comes and I feel like, you know, slowly combining the other stuff. But I feel the best way to work out new music is to work it on
Live.
the stage. You
Yeah.
know, so if we in March and the music comes out in June,
Yeah.
by June I should be strong. and nobody knows besides Flamekeeper how their songs go, but me.
Exactly. Yeah. Beautiful.
So they all get a preview.
Beautiful. What are your plans for this year besides this tour? Like for the fall, I mean, do you have some other side woman projects going on, or like band leading continuing? And
No, I mean, we're not allowed to announce gigs before the place does.
okay.
So this tour is going to go all the way until the end of November.
Wow, man. Okay. Oof. Jesus. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
we're in a new album, so our year is dedicated, maybe even the next to We Dream.
Bro, fantastic. Cool. Lakecia, I'll leave you a nice evening in Berlin so that you can chill. And but thanks for sharing some of these thoughts,
Okay, thanks so much, man.
and see you somewhere around
All right,
in
see
Europe.
you
Okay,
around.
bye.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, bye.